Hey look, it's Piers Morgan! If you've watched Piers Morgan on Palestine and Israel, you would have noticed that he has a sleazy way of covering this issue that seems to support the Zionist narrative. It all starts with one question.
Do you condemn what Hamas did that day? Would you condemn Hamas for what they did?
Do you condemn Hamas or the attack on October the 7th? Yes? Then Israel has the right to defend itself from the worst thing to ever happen in the last 20 years.
Is Israel not allowed to defend itself from the worst terror attack we've seen since 9/11? Massacring 1,500 innocent people, including Holocaust survivors, kidnapping babies, decapitating people, cutting their limbs off, raping women.
What about the IDF, bro? They kill lots of people too. Shut up, you anti-Semite.
I want you to condemn the fact that the IDF killing innocent civilians, 1,000 of them children, that is a war crime and that is not acceptable morally. Just like you condemn the other one. Is it condemnable?
I believe, given the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th, Israel is entitled to
kill children.
No, that's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled to defend themselves with force.
So clearly, Piers will not apply the same standards to the IDF as he applies to Hamas, because the IDF is defending itself. The only moral quandary Piers has is, how much is the IDF allowed to defend itself from the most evil people in the world before it becomes too much?
It's a quandary for me morally, right?
Why is it a quandary, though?
I'll tell you why.
With Hamas, it's not a quandary.
I'll tell you why. Because, unfortunately, in war, civilians
100
get
to
killed.
1 ratio. 100 to 1 ratio.
Yes.
100 to 1 ratio.
Yes, they get killed.
No, not 100 to 1 ratio. It's an unacceptable ratio.
So to sum this all up for you, a conversation with Piers goes like this. He'll ask the guest to condemn Hamas. Once the guest does so, he'll make Hamas on October the 7th look like the worst thing to ever happen in the universe. Then, to eradicate such evil, Israel, the good guy, has to use any force necessary. And in this force, innocent lives are taken for the greater good. And this is how almost every pro-Palestine guest of Piers Morgan who condemns Hamas gets into a stalemate with him until they run out of time. Now, if his guest does not outright condemn Hamas, if they try to contextualize the answer, then Piers grills them without letting them get a word in.
Let me answer.
You don't think they're a terror group?
No, what I think is this. On certain
Because I'd be really curious what you think an act of terror is if it's not massacring 1,500 innocent people,
It's not
including Holocaust survivors,
Piers.
kidnapping babies, decapitating
Piers.
people, cutting their limbs off, raping women.
So there's basically no situation where a pro-Palestinian can outright win in this game with Piers Morgan, unless you hack the whole thing, of course. Now, the tactic that Piers uses is pretending like world history started on October 7th. Absolutely nothing's been going on in Gaza before that. Everyone was living amazing, perfect lives until Hamas decided to just go crazy all of a sudden. This is typical Zionist propaganda, by the way, and it's nothing new. You could see the same tactics being called out back in 2006.
Oh, please, have a slightly longer memory than 4 weeks.
A democratic Lebanon.
Look, because Israel occupies their country and holds thousands of their compatriots as kidnapped hostages in their dungeons. Origins of this conflict are not 4 weeks or 4 years or 14 years, but are decades old. You want people to think that the crisis started when the clock started ticking on Sky News.
Oh, give the man a bloody medal!
So, after mentioning all of this stuff, why would I think he might be a closet Palestine supporter? Well, his tweets from 2014 were uncovered, which tell us a different story.
At what point does Israel's current military strategy become the very terrorism it professes to be fighting?
I just have a hard time believing that someone who used to tweet like that, someone who does not have a history of being brainwashed by terrible ideology, someone who has more context on this than starting their calendar on October 7th, someone who has heard practically every side of the Palestinian argument, i.e. the truth, would still purposefully behave like a warmongering Zionist psychopath. These are poor reductionist arguments. and Piers Morgan is smarter than all of these people. So why would Piers peddle this silly propaganda when he might not believe it himself?
The Israelis are genociding the Palestinians, and you know it as well as everybody else does. Well, then it seems like your bosses are not allowing you to know it.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Just look at his boss. Talk TV is owned by the same diseased Turkey who owns Sky News, Fox News, among other outlets who all love Muslims and definitely do not peddle Zionist propaganda. Remember this guy? Well, that interview was with Sky News, who were employing the same tactics. And let's just say, if you stand for truth, this was a very satisfying interview to watch.
Do you justify your support for Hezbollah and its leader, Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah?
What a preposterous way to introduce an item, and what a preposterous first question. So it's you who should be justifying the evident bias, which is written on every line on your face, and is in every nuance of your voice, and is loaded in every question that you ask. In most people's eyes, Israel is a terrorist state. It's the fact that you cannot comprehend that fact that leads to the bias which runs through all of your reporting and every question that you've asked me in this interview. What a silly question. What a silly person you are.
I have to say that some people might find it offensive when more families are mourning their dead to hear you say that it was a bloody good hiding. So
you don't give a damn. You don't even know about the Palestinian families, because you believe, whether you know it or not, that Israeli blood is more valuable than the blood of Lebanese or Palestinians. That's the truth, and the discerning of your viewers already know it.
I wonder how long it'll be before Piers calls him on the show. So our boy Piers has no choice but to peddle this propaganda if he wants to keep his job. But ask yourself this: if Piers is just a clear Zionist propagandist, he could have just acted like a crying snowflake and not given any airtime to pro-Palestine voices. Whether you like it or not, he's one of the best neutral platforms for pro-Palestinian views, even with all the devious tactics he employs. His bias is so evident and incompetent at the same time that the comments see right through Piers's ridiculous agenda on almost every video. And there's no way Piers does not realize that. If he is genuinely a Zionist, then he is the most useful idiot Palestine could ask for. Kind of like this guy. During the 2016 US presidential election, you had a gay ex-liberal who supported Trump, while still maintaining that he's not conservative, but a libertarian. The conservatives milked this, as evident by this video of a multimillionaire right-winger praising him for being a useful idiot.
I want you to continue to say you're a liberal, because you're of great use to good values.
Well, don't worry, I'm not doing it for your use of me. I'm doing it for myself.
No. It's like Christians who say to me, you know, oh, we would love you to come to Christ, but you are so valuable to us as a Jew when you defend us Christians.
So here's my theory, my personal fun on steroids. Perhaps he has always been pro-Palestinian. He brings pro-Palestine voices on, but he has to throw a bone out for his Zionist bosses and fan base by acting the way he does. But his overall impact ends up being a net positive for the Palestinian viewpoint. I mean, think about it. If he were an undercover agent for the Palestinian cause, I couldn't imagine him doing a better job. He's being way more useful to the Palestinian cause as a Zionist propagandist than he is if he openly came out as a supporter of Palestine. And I'm sure he realizes it. I mean, we all do, so I'm sure he does as well. The truth doesn't really need the propaganda spin that falsehood needs. It just needs a platform, and Piers is providing that. Maybe the pro-Palestinian in him realizes his hands are tied with his job, but he can debunk the Zionist propaganda much better as an actor rather than as an outright opponent. He could be the biggest unsung hero we know. He's not the hero we want, but the hero we need. Maybe. Just maybe, he's the Severus Snape of Palestine.
No! God, please, no! No!